Hi, I'm Tala. I am 21 years old and I am a musician.
When and how did you start? And can you still remember the first song you released? Your first gig?
Okay, well, both my parents are musicians, so I grew up in a family of musicians. So I guess I've always been doing music because my parents made me take classical piano lessons, they made me take violin lessons as well, but I stopped that early. And then I'm self taught guitar. And I had a lot of musician friends growing up. So in elementary and high school, most of the people I would be around knew how to play guitar or they sang also. So it was kind of just like a natural love for it. And then my very first gig, I remember it super clearly. I was in seventh grade, and my dad had a gig at a bar, and I asked if I could do a song. So I was like 13, 14, way too young to be in a bar, but I performed like two songs on an acoustic guitar, and then that's kind of when I realized that I wanted to perform. And then the first song I released professionally was in 2017 under Universal Records now. So
What was this song?
it's called Nothing Personal. So it's my debut single. Yeah.
Can you share the story behind Labi?
Well, the funny thing is, it's actually my dad wrote that song. So he is a producer. He does a lot of my music, and he is also in a band. He's in the Chilities, which is a really good OPM band. I'm not biased. They really have good music. And yeah, I fell in love with that song when I first heard it. So it was like years ago. I was very young when my dad released it. And when I started getting into music, I asked him if I could release my own version of the song. And he gave me his blessing. He was like, sure, I would love it if you would sing one of my songs. And actually, there's a bridge there that I changed. So the bridge in my version of the studio, like the studio version that is released under my name, it isn't in the original one. So I wrote that part, and it's just about bad timing and a kiss that, in whatever way you want to interpret it, shouldn't have happened but happened anyway. So I really like the lyrics. I think Tagalog is a beautiful language. I am sadly not as fluent as I want to be, but that's also why I wanted to perform it. Yeah, it's just a really, really sweet song about, like the lyrics, the English translation is like, why did I only kiss you now? Or why am I only seeing you now? And I think it's really important to take that into consideration when it comes into relationships. Like, timing really is a huge factor in it. And yeah, it's a really nice song, and I'm really glad that my dad let me perform my own version of it.
What's your favorite line from the song?
Oh, in the first verse, there's a line that's, init ng kape, walang masabi sa init ng wait. Init ng kape, walang masabi sa init ng kayo, magyakapan. So it's like, yeah, that. It's just like the warmth of this coffee is like, it can't compare to the warmth of your embrace. And I just find that such a sweet lyric because it's so simple, and I think simple lyrics really get to me the most because, yeah, it's just like straight to the point. It's really sweet. I want someone to talk about me like that one day. Okay, so Lucky is what I wrote. I write most of my songs. Labi was just an exception because I liked it, like I mentioned earlier. And I wrote the bridge for Labi. But for Lucky, it's actually a collaboration. I worked with Ash, who's a really good producer. He sent me this track and asked me to write over it. So when I first heard the track, the instrumental, I thought it sounded very cold. And then I was inspired kind of by, what's cold, what's empty. It's like emptiness, being vast or like in space. And yeah, I'm an astrology person. I really like astrology. I find it interesting and fun. And I stumbled across an article that said that Mercury is a planet that is really shrinking rapidly. So when I read about it, I was thinking, from my limited knowledge in astrology, Mercury is the planet that kind of is known for influencing how humans communicate. So I put myself in a hypothetical situation. If we really are dependent on Mercury to communicate and it shrinks, then does that mean that we're doomed to fail when it comes to relationships and communication? So I like to do that a lot in my writing. I like to put myself in hypothetical situations to see what I can drag out from seemingly, mundane or everyday articles like that. I was able to bring a song out of it. And it's called Lucky because I think that when it comes to communicating with people, you really need a lot of luck. A lot of people say, like, love wins and love kind of beats all. But I personally don't think that's the case. You need to really be lucky in your timing, lucky in, like, your position in life, your location, everything. It's like all these small things that build up and can be a huge factor without one of them, it can be a huge factor in whether or not relationship can survive.
Do you have any favorite line from the song?
I like my verse. It's like, I wonder when you'll call my name. Been waiting far too long. Another mindless hurricane. Give me one more year and I'll be gone. So yeah, again, inspired by the article I read about Mercury just shrinking. Because if it keeps shrinking rapidly, eventually I know it's gonna disappear.
What's your songwriting process like?
I think it depends on the song. I don't really have a process, but what I noticed is most of the time the melody comes first to me. That's a personal thing. Because again, I grew up learning musical instruments before I learned how to sing. So yeah, I guess that's why it comes natural to me to find melodies that kind of work with whatever instrumental I'm working with or whatever instruments. Sometimes I can be literally like in class or walking my dog or cooking, and then a melody will come to me. And then, yeah, whatever tune I have or whatever the ambience of the song production is, that's kind of where I drag out the lyrics. So that's how it works most of the time for me. But I've had a few songs where the lyrics come first. Again, it's more of just like a random process depending on how I'm feeling. But most of the time, I start with melodies.
So what's next for you? Do you have any, I mean, we're in a pandemic now, but what are your plans music-wise?
Well, I've been working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes, like me being home and, trying to avoid going out has given me a lot of time to reflect, I guess, in ways that I was never really able to do so before. So right now I'm working on another EP, which I hope to release hopefully like early next year because it's already October. But then before the year ends, I want to release one more single. So that's what I've kind of been working on. A lot of my music that I'm writing now, I wouldn't say it's completely different from the stuff I've released because, it's still me. But I think I'm bringing out a more mature, open version of my music, which maybe my listeners aren't so used to yet. So it's both nerve-wracking and really exciting. So, yeah.
Lastly, can you invite everyone to check out your music? Where can we find you?
Okay, well, if you guys like my performances and if you like my music, you can stream my whole discography. I'm on all digital platforms. I just go by TALA, TALA. I'm on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, Deezer, just all of those digital platforms. And you can also find all of my music under Universal Records Philippines, which is where I'm signed to. And if you want to see more of me, you can follow me on social media. I am on Instagram and Twitter at Talulasaur, TALULASAUR. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.